Hello and welcome to another episode of How To with Paul Henderson. Today's video is going to be on my 1 year of being sober. Here is my proof. This here is my 1 year sobriety certificate. It's not a legit certificate. Well, it is kind of. I had downloaded it from the internet and filled in the blanks. But hey, I'm sure if I went to some sobriety class or whatever, I would have received this after 1 year. And as you can see, I had a 90-day and a 60-day, and there is a 120-day one in there somewhere. So my last video that I had filmed was at 6 months, so I haven't filmed one in 6 months. And as of, well, today is October 4th, 2024. My actual 1 year of sobriety was on June, July, August, September 24th, 2024. Now I wrote down a list of stuff, so I'm hoping to stick to it. I always say that at every single every single video I do, but here's a screenshot of me reaching my 1 year sobriety point. And as you can see, well, I can't see it yet. 100% is what it says. I like the little caption underneath that says, "I choose a healthy life," and that is very, very true. I do feel extremely healthy. I've took some time. I'm not saying that I felt great right away, but as each month went by, I felt better and better. I still had, I don't know, I thought I was having little mini strokes occasionally every now and then, and maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But apparently, from what my neurologist said, I went to my 1 year, my 1 year follow-up visit about 3 weeks ago, and it was about a half hour, not an interview, appointment. So it was my 1 year appointment, and we talked and stuff, and I told him I think that I was still having mini strokes, and he said no. He said, you are having seizures, really small ones. I forgot the name that he called them, but I'm not having your conventional seizure where you fall on the ground. I know they're happening. I feel them coming on, and I know they're happening when they're happening. Basically, the only way that I can describe them is that I feel slightly drunk when they happen, even though I'm not drinking. So he's still saying that it is caused from the head trauma that I sustained as a child, most likely when I fell out of the car when I was a toddler. I was probably 3 or 4. Because it was right after that was when I started sleepwalking. I would have really bad headaches, and that went on for years. I also have deja vu, which is also has something to do with the brain. And of course, in 2011 was when I had the mini stroke. I didn't go to the hospital until about 4 days later, and then I had another mini stroke maybe a year and a half ago, and then another one a year ago. And that was when they came to the conclusion that I was having alcohol withdrawal syndrome, and what else was it? Alcohol withdrawal syndrome, and alcohol withdrawal. What do you call that when you can't drink anymore and you get sick from it? Withdrawals. So I was having alcohol withdrawal syndrome. If I were to drink, like, just say, have a couple beers on Monday, maybe 3 or 4 on Tuesday, and just say I was off on Wednesday and I had like maybe 3, 4, or 5 because it was a real nice day, and then on Thursday I couldn't have any, I would have the alcohol withdrawal hallucinations, and they weren't fun. Now, I've been having those ever since I started to drink, and that was back probably when I was in my late teens, 18, 20 years old. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and the curtains would be moving, like the window was open. I would see the ceiling waving around. The wall might be moving a little bit. Now, if I had to get up and go pee, and of course I'd be a little bit too tired to stand, so I would like sit down like a girl in the toilet, and I'd be looking at the wall, and the towels would be moving just a little bit. Now, whenever that would happen, I just thought it was my brain was still asleep and it wasn't awake yet. I mean, I was awake, but maybe my brain wasn't, and that's what that was. But come to find out, all this time, it was alcohol-induced hallucinations, or alcohol withdrawal hallucinations. Just can't seem to get it straight. But anyway, with this, so I'm going to go ahead and put the screenshot back up again. So as you can see, it says it's 100% in 1 year. I choose a healthy life, and I did, and I still do. 364 days, 21 hours, 47 minutes, and 25 seconds. That was back on September 24th. And my current savings for that year was $3,909.73. I did set up a sobriety savings, and it's called Sobriety Savings. Yeah, I didn't put too much thought into that name. But anyway, what I do is twice a month, I figure out what the app says I should have, and this is my, here it is called, it's the Quitzilla app. You can actually set it up for anything that you're trying to quit. I also, and if you tap on that app, on that screenshot, it also comes up, I quit caffeinated beverages 61 days, 15 hours, and 44 minutes, and 13 seconds ago as of September 24th. Right now, I'm currently at 20% of coming up on 5 years, and no caffeine was 72 days, 22 hours, 47 minutes, and 38 seconds. Now if I go ahead and tap on stop drinking alcohol, it says I have $4,030 in that savings account. So that's pretty sweet. I really can't complain about that. And I'm going to keep doing that probably for the whole 5 years. So at 5 years, 4 times 5, what is that? 20 grand? Wow. 4, 8, 12, 16. Oh my God. $20,000. 5 years of no alcohol. Can't believe that 5 years of drinking would cost 20 grand. And that's like a minimum. Could have been more. Could be more. So anyway, let's see. Did I get off subject yet? I did the intro. I did that one. So now it says, talk about what the doctor said. So I already talked about what the doctor said. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself. So anyway, he did say that I'm still having, I call them micro seizures. They are nothing like they were before I wound up in the hospital a year and a half ago. And when I quit drinking a year ago, they actually started to go down. They are a lot smaller. Like I said, they're micro. I call them micro. I don't know if they're actually called that by doctors or whatever, but I figure since they're so small, they're called micro. I did stop all my medications about 3 months before my 1 year sobriety, before I reached my 1 year of sobriety. I did feel really good, except for my blood pressure went back up. So I decided I better start taking all my medications again. So I'm taking the Pradaxa, that is the blood thinner. I'm taking Pradaxa, a cholesterol medication, blood pressure medication, and my Keppra. Now the Keppra, my neurologist says I don't have to take anymore, but what he wants me to do is to keep 2 tablets on me at all times, and if I feel an episode coming on, to take those 2 tablets. He goes, taking 2 at once will not do anything at all. I mean, it won't be harmful at all. He goes, just take those when you feel one coming on and see what happens. If it goes away, and then, just make sure you keep doing that and just keep track of when you have them. So I told him I will. Now, and after that visit, I probably have, so it's been, a couple weeks since I reached my 1 year of sobriety. The first week, I think I had 1, and the second week I had 2. So what am I on? Maybe I'm coming up on, yeah, it's only been about 2 weeks. So I've had a total of 3 small episodes since my 1-year follow-up visit. And I believe each time that I had one was because I had lack of sleep. I think on where I had 2 in the same day, that was where for like 3 days in a row, previously to having those 2 in that day, I think I averaged 3.5 to 5 hours of sleep every single night, and it wasn't a solid sleep. It was just a partial sleep where I kept waking up. I do still take the trazodone. I don't take it every single night. I fall asleep no problem at night. It's just that I may wake up during the middle of the night. I don't have insomnia. I can fall back asleep, but if my damn cat, Tango, wakes me up, then I wake up, I can fall back asleep, and then he ends up having the zoomies, and he's flying all around the room, might wake me back up again. But I'm not going to blame it totally on him, because I've been that way my entire life, where I just get like 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours at the most. 7 hours would be really good for me if that ever happens, or when it does happen, but it doesn't happen very often. So Dr. O, which was my neurologist, did say that lack of sleep can bring it on, stress can bring it on, and of course, see what else. Of course, if I drink, then when I don't drink, that'll bring them on. I don't have to worry about ever drinking again, because I never going to drink again as long as I live. I went to Vegas maybe a month and a half ago. I did finally try some non-alcoholic beverages. It was Heineken 0.0. When I got home, I did try one at the restaurant at Bass Pro Shop, and it was Sam Adams, some sort of IPA. It was a 0.05. Now, I'm not too sure. I know that one beer couldn't have done anything. Actually, it wasn't even a beer because it was non-alcoholic. I think that was also a day. That was before my 1-year anniversary. I also had like another micro mini seizure then when I got home from there, and that was another night where I had lack of sleep. So as of today, which is October 4th, I am going to start forcing myself to reset my alarm for a later time to wake up. I have that, what do they call that? FOMO, fear of missing out syndrome. Is it a syndrome? I don't know. But I have that fear of missing out, where if I don't get up and I'm not awake enough throughout the day, I'm going to miss out on something. So it's totally freaking ridiculous why I even think that. I don't know. So if you do the math, that's not a lot of sleep. And like I said, I'll wake up throughout the night, maybe once or twice, sometimes 3 times in the middle of the night I'll wake up, but I can go back to sleep. There's been a few times that I woke up like at 4, so I had like maybe 2 to 3 hours sleep, and I just stayed awake the rest of the day. And those are the days where I would have like a micro mini seizure. So I believe what Dr. O said when he said that lack of sleep and stress can bring it on, but I don't have any stress whatsoever. So I'm going to blame it on lack of sleep. And when I take the trazodone, I fall asleep real quick. And if I were to wake up 2 or 3 hours later, I have no problem walking around. It doesn't stay in my system to where I feel groggy or anything. Kind of like if you were to take 2 tablets of those sleep aids from NyQuil. When I used to take those before I was subscribed to trazodone, then I would be kind of weird if I woke up a little bit too early. But with the trazodone, I don't feel that way. At least for me, I don't. So I don't like taking it, but when I have to, I will. I got to put my glasses on because I can't see. Well, I can see, but it's kind of hard. So like I said, I can feel them coming on when they come on, and I kind of know when they are going to happen. I can anticipate it now, because now I know when I don't get a lot of sleep, then I'll end up having a micro one that day. So I just got to tell myself to try to get as much sleep as I can. Now, I don't watch as many sobriety videos as I used to. I still occasionally watch one, like I said in the previous videos. Dr. Andrew Huberman, he is a neuroscientist. I think he's a neuroscientist. Dang it. I think he's a neuroscientist. Neurologist. Anyway, there's Andrew Huberman. He has quite a bit of stuff on alcohol and what alcohol does to the body. This particular video here says what alcohol does to your body, brain, and health. Sober Leon, he's another one. He is an ex-alcoholic, so he talks about his sobriety. Sober Leon, he actually teaches an online course about sobriety. He was also an ex-alcoholic, and both of those two guys are doing awesome. And I also believe that Andrew Huberman, he was one also a long time ago. I do highly recommend subscribing to all three of these guys' channels, including mine. But Andrew Huberman, you have to search on his channel for things that for videos that have to do about alcohol, and you really should watch those, because he gets into great detail about what they do to the brain. Now that we're on that subject about what alcohol does to your body, I do have two pictures where I took two frontal pictures. Well, I took two frontal and two rear ones. I'm not going to show the rear photos of my back. I got some tattoos on there that are questionable. I got tattoos when I used to drink. So drinking you make poor choices when you drink. And I did that when I was drinking. Did I drive drunk? When I was younger, I drove, what do you call it when you're slightly drunk? I can't think of it. Buzzed. But they say buzz drinking is drunk driving, or buzz driving is drunk driving. So yeah, I probably drove drunk. But I drove buzz quite a few times when I was younger. As I got older, I realized I can't do that. So if I went somewhere, I would drink one beer on the motorcycle, 2 beers on the bike, and that's it. If I was staying the night somewhere, then I would drink more. If I didn't have to drive, if I went on vacation, I would drink a lot more while I was on vacation. And then, of course, when I went on vacation and then on the way back from the vacation, that's when I would have those seizures. And knowing what I know now, I realize that's what those were. And it was happening quite a bit. So since I quit drinking, I don't have many more, except for the little micro ones, which are just being brought on by lack of sleep. So with all that said, still, I do recommend watching these videos of these three guys and my videos. I also have other videos on my channel about other stuff. It's not just sobriety stuff. I think on my channel I have 4 or 5 videos of my sobriety, of me going through my sobriety. Well, there might be a few more, but this will probably be the last one for a while. So anyway, what alcohol does to your body? Well, what it did to my body. I noticed quite a few changes once I gave up alcohol. I mean, it wasn't right away. Within the first 2 months, within the first 2 months, I noticed that I started having more body hair. It started coming back on my arms, my legs. Right here it was bald. My knees were bald. I had absolutely no hair right here. And my knee hair, I know this probably sounds kind of gross, but hey, guys have hair on their legs. There's nothing, I'm not going to shave it. I'm proud to say that I'm a guy, and I like having a hairy body. That might gross some people out, but hey, it's life. Anyway, like I said, I got more hair on my legs, my knees. That all came back. I got the hair back on my arms. Actually got more hair on the front side of my arms. So I'm going to show those two photos. Now remember, I'm over 60, so I'm not in the best shape. When COVID hit, I quit working out, and ever since the gyms opened back up after COVID kind of like started dying down, I would go back, I would quit, I'd go back, I'd quit, and that was happening because of the drinking. I just couldn't work out, and then if I went to the gym and worked out, when I got done, I would feel like crap, and I wouldn't feel good. So that was leading up to what had happened a year and a half ago when I wound up in the hospital for a week. And then even during the first 6 months of my sobriety, I was trying to go back to the gym, and it was too hard, so I had to quit doing the gym stuff. So the highest weight that I ever got was 185 pounds. I am now down to 165.4 as of this morning. So here are those two photos. They're side by side. You can see that I gained a little, I didn't gain any weight. You can see I lost a little bit of weight. The photo on the left was from, I think it was November, so it was like just over a month after I quit drinking. So I lost 18 pounds the first month, and then I lost a few more, so now I went from 185 to 165. So I lost, 19 pounds? Almost 20 pounds. And as you can see, I got more hair on my belly than I did before. The other big change was I didn't take any photos of them. And I'm sure some people probably have a feet fetish, so they probably like it, is my fingernails and toenails are virtually back to how they were from years ago. Now my fingernails had ridges all on them, and they used to be really brittle. They're not anymore. My toenails, especially the large ones, the one on the right, totally normal. It looks like a thumbnail now. The one on the left still has a small crack down the middle, but it looks like it's 95% there. That was the worst one out of all of them. The small ones were almost non-existent. They've grown back. So what alcohol does to the body, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube about that. I personally think that it kills you from the inside out. It is a poison, it's a toxin, and Andrew Huberman covers that on every single one of his alcohol videos. I don't even know why they sell it. It's all for the money, I guess. They just, the state makes billions of dollars a year on it. Billions of dollars a year on alcohol tax. Same thing on tobacco tax. So are they ever going to stop selling it? No, they never will. It's too much money they're making. But I am going to smoke 2 cigars a year, one on New Year's and one on my birthday. And on each of those, I will buy one non-alcoholic Heineken 0.0 because my neurologist says I can drink that. But I am not going to buy that non-alcoholic beer to drink at home. I'm just going to stick to my water. All right, so I got that covered. So, what does this say? Yeah. So alcohol is linked to cancer. They've proven it. And if people don't want to believe it, I don't know what to tell you. Alcohol is a poison, it's a toxin, and you need to think of it as, I don't know, you need to think of it as a rat poison. Would you be drinking a teaspoon of rat poison every day? No. So why drink alcohol? It's a poison. It's killing you from the inside out. Alcohol turns into acetate, and acetate turns into acetaldehyde, or is it vice versa? I think it's acetaldehyde and then acetate. And I think it's those two compounds that can make it into the blood-brain barrier. There's not too many things that can, but what those two compounds are what they turn into can. And that is what is disrupting the neurons around where I had the stroke. And that is why I not only had the stroke on the right side, that's probably where I had some head trauma. Because every time I had some head trauma, It was always on the right side. But the main one was when I fell out of the car when I was a kid and no one knew it. And I rolled in the street into the gutter, and someone had chased my parents down in their car, and took about a mile to get them to stop. And they said, "Hey, your kid's a mile down the road in the gutter." So they went back and got me. Didn't take me to the doctors or anything, which I don't understand that. But as a kid, I never cried, so they probably didn't think I was hurt, and they just took me home, and that was it. But that is when I ended up breaking my nose, because no one knows when I broke my nose. So when I had my rhinoplasty, I think it was 7 years ago, they asked me, along with the other plastic surgeons. I saw a total of 4 plastic surgeons since I was 15 years old about having a nose job done. Each of them said that I had a broken nose, asked when I had broke it, and I could not give them an answer because I have no idea when it was broke, but all I know is that ever since I can remember, I always had sinus issues. So the only thing I can think is that when I was a toddler and fell out of the car, that's when I broke my nose. But I did get it fixed back, I don't know what year it was. It was like 7 years ago. It cost me, I think it was 12 grand. Now, years ago, when I first went to find out what it would cost to have it done, it was about 25 grand. So that was pretty sweet that it went down over the years. And now I have no more breathing issues. So I already mentioned the changes that I noticed. Another thing I noticed is that when I stopped drinking alcohol, my eating choices became better. I don't go out for beer and nachos, beer and french fries anymore. There was times when I would go to the gym that I couldn't wait to leave and go across the street and have a beer and french fries, which totally defeats the whole purpose of going to the gym, right? I mean, you should go to the gym and then eat better when you get done, but it was backwards for me. I'd go out to breakfast, have a light breakfast, go to the gym, and as soon as I got done at the gym, I'd go have a beer. So I'd probably get all that done by 11 a.m., maybe noon. And I guess that's really it. So that was my journey over the past year of being sober and seizure-free and stroke-free. But I wouldn't say I was I wouldn't say that I was seizure-free, because I've been having little micro ones, but with each passing year, I mean, with each passing month, they did get smaller and smaller, and that's a good thing. I mean, you figure if I've been having seizures since I was a little kid, I used to sleepwalk, have deja vus all the time, and if you look up what deja vus are, it comes from trauma to the head. I don't know. There's something goes on with it where there's trauma, and deja vus is just a delayed processing in what you're seeing and hearing. So you think you heard it all before, and you could sit there and everything is being said that you remember was being said, maybe you think previously, but you really can't put your finger on when you heard that. And it's just a delay in the process of seeing and hearing. So, and that's all caused from head trauma. And believe me, I had a lot of head trauma. I could mention it again. Okay, so I fell out of the car when I was a kid. I remember there was one time I was riding my bike out of my aunt's house, and my mom said, before I go through the gate, make sure I stick my head out and make sure there's nobody coming so I don't get hit. So I did, and then a utility truck hit me in the head, put a big gash in it, went to the hospital, and they stitched it back up. Now, and I had a fear of needles back then, so I told them I didn't want to get no Novocaine shots, which this doesn't make sense. So I had a fear of needles, but then I made them stitch it up with no Novocaine, so I don't get that part. And then, I don't know the order, Let's see, I fell off a loading dock behind Market Basket. That was when I had a 10-speed bike, my first bike. Hit my head. A neighbor rushed me to the hospital. They did a bunch of tests. They said I had a concussion. Another time when I got my moped, I ran that into a Volkswagen head-on, and I hit my head on his bubble fender and put a dent in his bubble fender, the same size as my head. Let's see. Then all the skiing accidents I had. I remember hitting my head quite a few times. Well, I wouldn't say quite a few times. Maybe might have smacked my head on the ground maybe half a dozen times. See, the car accident I got into, I didn't hit my head. Crashed my street bike and I crashed a friend's street bike when I was learning how to ride a motorcycle, and then I crashed mine 8 months later. I did not hit my head on those ones, but I did break my collarbone in 2 places on my when I crashed my street bike. Dislocated my shoulder when I had a ski accident. But I do remember zonking my head on a few ski accidents. Damn, I really had a lot of head trauma. I'm surprised I'm still alive. Well, I guess that's it, folks. I think this is probably going to be about a 30-minute video. Took about 6 tries to get it started, and then I just kept rambling on. Well, so as of today, which is October 4th, 2024, it's been about a year and maybe 2 weeks of being sober. I feel awesome, and I think I look good. Yeah, takes a lot of work, let me tell you. Let's see. So like I said, this morning I weighed myself. I was 165.4, I think. And hopefully that's right around where I'm going to be staying. I am going to start going back to the gym again. I might start next week. I might take this rest of this month off and not go maybe until November 1st. I need to take a break. You know, between work and everything that I've been going through this past year, it's been kind of tough. On days I don't feel good, I still go to work. And these little episodes, oh yeah, that's another thing. So when I have these, so I'm still having these little episodes every now and then. Like I said, I think before my 1-year follow-up visit, I had two in one day. No, I did say two in one day. No, I had two days apart. I got no sleep for like, okay, now I remember. So I got no sleep for like 3 days prior, and then I went to work. Then I had a headache the day before. I went to work. I had one. I had a micro seizure. And then the next day I went to work. I still had a headache, and I had another micro seizure. So both times, usually, previously when I have the bigger little seizures, I wouldn't feel good for, I would feel really bad for like an hour. And then over the next 1 to 3 hours, it would just kind of like start tapering off, and then I would feel less worse, and then eventually it would just go away. So those last 2 times I had it, they were nothing like the previous times. So they only lasted about a total of 2 hours max, and then I was back to normal. I can tell when they come on because my eyesight gets like a slightly blurry, and then I'll have one. Now before, they would get really blurry. I mean, my eyesight would get really blurry. Now, before the year, now a while back, before I knew what was going on, they would be really bad. My eyesight would get so blurry. I mean, I could drive and I could see, but I couldn't focus on the signs, the street signs. And there were some times that it was so blurry, I ended up calling up work and calling in sick. Just told them I had a really bad headache, and I probably did have a headache, but I just told them it was really bad, so I couldn't come in. I didn't want to tell them I couldn't see because I don't think they would understand what I was talking about. But from like 2011 until now, I feel 100% better. All I have to do is just force myself to at least get 7 hours sleep at night. I mean, maybe 6 6 solid hours would be good. 7 would be even better. Well, that's it, folks. I think I rambled on way too much, and I am not going to be cutting anything out. I might just zoom in, zoom out, so it's not just one view of the camera. Well, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, press the like button, press the subscribe button, and you can, oh yeah, subscribe to my channel. Just, can I start that over? Anyway, okay, so let me start over. Press the like button, press the subscribe button, and the bell icon, and you get notifications as new videos come out. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and sorry if I rambled on way too long. And I do got some more videos coming out. I actually filmed 3 last week. No, a couple weeks ago. Maybe 3 weeks ago. Okay, it could have been 4. On one, I had like 3 days off in a row, so I just filmed one every day. And then I filmed another one last week. I got them stored on the computer, so I just got to start editing them. But I just didn't want to push myself, and plus I wanted to film this video today, so I didn't want to do too much, because that's the problem I have. I do too much. I don't know how to relax. The only time I can relax is if I go to the movies. So since I'm off today, which is October 4th, I think I'm going to go to the movies. I got that movie pass, so I pay like $10 a month, and I go see 1 or 2 movies a month. So I'm going to go see something. Anyway, that's it, folks. Enjoy your day, and may you stay sober. Like me. Sober, seizure-free, and stroke-free. And I guess that's it. So I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, and goodbye.